Hi, my name is Leanna Primiani. I'm a composer living in Santa Monica, and I'm thrilled to have my piece 1001 performed by the Omaha Symphony. It's a dream come true. I love the orchestra, and Ankush has been so kind to program my piece this season. In addition to concert music, I also write film and television and video games. The piece that is being performed by the Omaha Symphony, 1001, is a companion piece to Scheherazade. 1001 is a commentary on the modern day abuse of women. When we listen to Scheherazade, it's a spectacular piece. It's been in the orchestral standard repertoire for over 100 years. And it's about a woman who is part of a harem, and every night the Sultan marries one of his concubines and the next day kills her. And it's her turn to be married to the Sultan or to have her night with him. And to keep herself alive, she tells these stories, and she doesn't finish them, and thus he has to keep her alive to finish the story. So this happens for 1001 nights, so essentially 3.5 years. So let's turn that into modern day. What does that mean? 50% of American women, at least, are abused. They live in fear. They don't know how they're going to protect their children. Day to day to day. There are so many women in this country that live like Scheherazade. And at the time that Scheherazade was written, it was written as a love story. She told these stories, and through these 3.5 years, the Sultan falls in love with her, and they get married and lived happily ever after. But in reality, she marries her abuser. How often does that happen? So I wanted to just tell this story through a modern lens, take the familiar motives, melodic elements, rhythmic elements, instrumental elements, orchestrational elements, and weave them in a very modern way, just to shed a different light on a very familiar story. This piece is with orchestra and electronics. So the electronics bed is Scheherazade's psyche, what she's going through, and the orchestra is her reality, what's happening, and it's the juxtaposition of those two elements that really tell her story and the story of women who are abused. And I'm hoping that people that listen to this or know of people who are sitting in the audience or people who are sitting in the audience or are listening to this story have the courage to get help. That's the point of the piece. So I think the main thing what's going to be new to the listener when they come to the concert hall is the element of the electronics. There are nuances and sounds and things that I can create with electronics that just can't be done with an orchestra, but it definitely enhances what the orchestra is doing. So sometimes it will be difficult to distinguish the difference between what the orchestra is doing and what you're hearing in the electronics, and that's the point, because Scheherazade herself, we want to know what she's feeling, and for those of us who have been in any kind of turmoil in our life, which I think is everyone at some point, it's hard to distinguish what's in our head and what's the reality that we're feeling, and I wanted to convey that musically, and the electronics is the element that really helps me do that. As a composer, as a woman, and especially as a mother, is just bringing attention to things that are happening in our society, not just nationally, but locally, that I find incredibly important. And that's the point of, I hope, as a composer, my music, to bring people in a concert hall who are so important in the community. The people who come to the concert hall are usually the people, anybody that comes to the concert hall can not just listen to music and go home, they can actually make a difference by sitting in that hall, coming to a concert, listening to the music, and hearing the message. And I'm hoping in the case of 1001 that if we change one life or make a difference in one life, it was completely worth it. People who come to Symphony Hall can make a difference.